The canyon winds howled like restless spirits as dusk bled purple over the desert, and Cole Maddox, known across the West as a quiet, unshakable cowboy with a past, full of gun smoke, guided his horse down the narrow trail in search of shelter before night swallowed the land. He had not expected to find anyone out here, much less someone clinging to life, but fate had other plans. While making his slow descent, a faint, broken voice drifted from below, barely louder than the whispering sand. Down here? Cole halted instantly, leaning over the saddle to peer into the shadows between the canyon boulders. That's when he saw her, an Apache girl, bruised, blood running down her arm, pinned beneath a collapsed slab of rock. Her long black hair was tangled with dust, her breathing sharp and uneven, yet her eyes held fierce courage instead of fear. Cole slid down the steep slope, boots scraping against stone until he reached her side. "Easy now," he said gently as he knelt beside her. But instead of pleading or panicking, she lifted her chin with remarkable strength and whispered, "Make it quick, cowboy. I won't scream." Her words stunned him, not because of their harshness, but because they were spoken with steady defiance, the voice of someone who had already faced death and refused to bow. Cole studied her injury, her leg trapped under the heavy rock, the bone possibly fractured, and blood pooling beneath her. She had likely been here for hours, maybe since morning, abandoned after an ambush or accident. "What happened?" he asked. She swallowed hard. "Bandits. I was scouting their trail before they reached my people. They spotted me." Her voice faltered, but she continued, "They left me to die." Cole felt a surge of anger. He had seen cruelty in the West, but leaving someone crushed under rock crossed a line even outlaws rarely touched. "What's your name?" he asked. "Nayeli," she replied. "And you?" "Cole Maddox," she nodded, as though filing the name away, then closed her eyes briefly. "If you're going to free me, do it. If not, leave before they come back." But Cole had no intention of leaving. The rock was heavy, lodged deep in the dirt, and every second wasted cost her strength she could not afford to lose. He dug his hands under the stone, testing its weight. She watched him quietly, her expression unreadable. "That won't budge," she murmured. "You'll hurt yourself," Cole smirked. "Wouldn't be the first time." He dug his boots in and heaved with all the force his broad shoulders could muster. The rock shifted just an inch, but enough to make Nayeli gasp in pain. Cole paused. "Sorry, don't apologize," she whispered. "Just do it." So he tried again, muscles burning, veins pulsing in his neck as the stone slowly rolled back far enough for him to drag her injured leg free. She clenched her jaw, refusing to cry out, staying true to her promise, yet the agony in her eyes nearly broke him. Once she was free, Cole ripped his scarf and tied a tight bandage above the wound to slow the bleeding. Nayeli's breath trembled as she leaned back against the canyon wall. "Why help me?" she asked softly. Her tone carried no suspicion, only wonder. "Because someone should," he replied simply. "And because you look like you've still got a lot of fights left in you." She gave a faint, pained smile. "More than you think." Cole lifted her gently and carried her toward his horse, cradling her as though she were lighter than the wind. When she winced, he tightened his hold protectively. "Hang on. I'll get you to my camp." But before they reached the ridge, distant hoofbeats echoed through the canyon, the bandits returning. Nayeli's eyes widened. "They'll kill us. Both." Cole placed her behind a large boulder and drew his revolver, his jaw set like iron. "Not tonight," he muttered. The shadows deepened as the outlaws closed in, torches flickering in their hands, their voices rough with arrogant confidence. Cole positioned himself strategically, using the canyon angles to his advantage. When the first rider approached, Cole shot out his torch, plunging the canyon into partial darkness. Chaos erupted. The outlaws fired blindly, their bullets sparking against stone. Cole moved with precision, one shot then another, each echo rolling through the canyon like thunder. Nayeli watched from behind the rock, her heart pounding. She could barely stand, but she refused to close her eyes. Cole fought like a man protecting something worth dying for. When the final outlaw collapsed, silence spread across the canyon once more. Cole staggered slightly, catching his breath, then returned to Nayeli. "They won't follow us now," he said. She looked at him with awe and disbelief. "You risked your life for me." He shrugged lightly. "Guess you were worth the risk." For the first time, her tough exterior softened. "Cole, thank you." He lifted her again, more determined than ever. "We're not done yet. I'll get you out of here, whatever it takes." And with the canyon wind swirling around them like a witness to destiny, he carried her into the night, unaware that their lives had just become bound in ways neither could yet imagine. By dawn, the desert had transformed into a sea of gold, and Cole had made camp beneath, a rocky overhang where shadows clung to the ground like blankets, shielding Nayeli from the rising heat. She lay wrapped in his poncho, her legs splinted and resting on his saddlebag, while Cole tended a small fire, grinding herbs he remembered from his time with frontier travelers. Simple medicine, but better than nothing. Nayeli opened her eyes slowly, blinking against the early sunlight, and the first thing she saw was Cole sitting beside her, exhaustion etched into his features, his hands dirty from working tirelessly to stop her bleeding. "You stayed awake all night," she whispered. "Couldn't risk bandits circling back," he murmured. But she saw the truth. He had been watching over her. When she tried to sit up, pain shot through her leg, but Cole steadied her gently. "Easy, you push too hard. And that bone's not going to heal." "Right," she studied him in silence for a moment. "You're not what I expected from a cowboy." Cole raised a brow. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Most men see a wounded girl and think she's weak." Her expression hardened with old memories. "But you treat me like I'm still a warrior." Cole nodded. "That's because you are." Her breath caught, not from pain, but from the way he said it, like it was the most obvious truth in the world. Before she could respond, a rustling noise echoed in the distance. Cole's hand instantly reached for his revolver, but instead of bandits, 3 Apache scouts appeared on the ridge, Nayeli's people. She stiffened, fear flickering across her face. "They might think you hurt me," she warned. Cole didn't move. "Then let's tell them otherwise." The scouts descended cautiously, bows drawn, eyes sharp and assessing. Nayeli called out to them in her language, her voice stronger than before. She explained what happened, the ambush, the bandits, the cowboy who saved her life. The scouts listened, their tension slowly easing. One approached Cole, studying him carefully before nodding in gratitude. Cole relaxed slightly but stayed humble, stepping aside as the scouts checked Nayeli's injury. "She needs a healer," one said. "Her leg may take months to mend." Nayeli reached for Cole's hand before they lifted her. "Will you come with us?" Her voice trembled slightly, though she tried to hide it. Cole hesitated, not because he didn't want to go, but because he had never belonged anywhere, not since the war, not since losing everyone he cared about. "Your people might not want a cowboy around," he said softly. Nayeli's eyes held him. "I want you around." And that simple sentence shattered every wall he had built. "Then I'm coming," he said. The scouts led them through winding paths to their hidden settlement nestled in a valley painted with wildflowers and guarded by towering red cliffs. Women rushed forward to assist Nayeli while elders approached, Cole with cautious curiosity. But when they heard Nayeli recount how he freed her, carried her, fought for her, and stood guard over her, their respect grew. Days passed. Nayeli healed slowly, her strength returning as Cole helped gather water, chop wood, and repair huts. He wasn't trying to impress anyone, he simply wanted to stay near her. And she wanted the same. Their bond deepened word by word, look by look, until one evening, under a sky filled with hundreds of stars, Nayeli sat beside him near the fire. "I thought I would die in that canyon," she said softly. "I thought my story was over." Cole gazed at her, his expression gentle. "But it wasn't. You fought. That's who you are." She brushed her fingers across the scar on his arm. "And who are you, Cole Maddox?" He looked toward the flames, a man who never had a place to belong. "You do now," she whispered. He turned to her, and in her eyes, he saw not pity but acceptance, a rare gift he had long forgotten how to receive. Before he could speak, shouts erupted from the edge of the valley. Bandits had found the settlement, seeking revenge for the canyon fight. Cole sprang to his feet, drawing his revolver as Nayeli grabbed her bow despite the pain in her leg. "Nayeli, stay back," he urged. She shook her head. "I don't hide. Not anymore." Together they faced the incoming riders. Cole fired with deadly accuracy, while Nayeli's arrows flew with fierce precision even from her seated position. The tribe warriors joined the battle, surrounding the bandits until they fled into the night defeated. When the battle ended, Nayeli sagged with exhaustion, and Cole rushed to her side, holding her close as she breathed heavily. "You were unbelievable," he whispered. She laughed weakly. Told you I don't scream. Cole smiled, brushing dust from her cheek. I never doubted it. Days later, when the danger had passed and peace settled again, Nayeli stood, limping but determined, and approached Cole as he saddled his horse. Leaving? She asked softly. Cole looked at her, conflicted. I don't want to, but I don't know if I belong here. Nayeli stepped closer, placing her hand over his. You belong wherever I am, his breath caught as her words, wrapped around him like a warm wind. Without hesitation, she continued. Stay. Not because you saved me, but because now your story is tied to mine. And in that moment, Cole Maddox knew he had finally found a place where his wandering soul could rest, a place carved not from land, but from connection. He wrapped his arms around her gently, and she leaned into him, feeling safe for the first time since the canyon. Together they walked back toward the settlement, ready to build a life neither had expected but both desperately needed.